Hello, this is going to be a new type of video, or just not a video at all, just an audio thing of me ranting about something philosophical that I completely thought up. This one was in the shower. What isn't? Yeah, it's talking about defining you. Defining you. The idea of me rant. So, what defines a person as a person? Like, I listen to the Unscripted podcast, and there's a person there, Gavin, who's an employee there, who makes a lot of suggestions on the show, and a lot of them are stupid. A lot of them kind of make sense, but he always gets to make fun for them. And a lot of the suggestions really are stupid. One time, the group was discussing what part of your body do you define as you. And Gavin suggested that it was his head. And he was saying that his head is him because that's where his head is and where his brain is and everything. And that when you chop someone's head off, to him it's chopping one's body off. Because he is in his head. And stuff. And your head's still alive for a little bit after you get it chopped off and stuff, so. Are we defined by our heads? Our brains? What defines you as you? Is there a physical representation of you? Well, all depends on your definition. You could define, it depends on what you define as you. Me? I define a person as anything revolving around anything that's permanent. Even though there are a lot of things that change, but throughout all the things that change, there's a permanent thing that they always use as a reference to lead to those changes. Reference as in a personality that says you would react to certain stimuli this way and that way. So, yes, you could be happy and jovial one point of your life, and then something tragic happens and you're a depressed sack of shit. But your personality, your map, defined how you would react to that situation, and if that situation happened, it said that you would become a depressed sack of shit. Like, everything just based off these little things. Yes, personalities can be completely rewiped and stuff, and like that electrolysis test or whatever it was, with kind of the railroad spike. But things involving personality and mental things, I think, are the definition of a person, because the definition of a person would be something that you could recreate them with. Something that if you put it into a futuristic AI unit and then put both the real person's brain and the synthetic copy into speakers and microphones and have them converse with people, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. That's how I would define a person. But what's the physical property of that person, of the thing that we're using to create the AI unit? What is it? Well, it is just a thing we made up oh god, my dog. In these rants, like, I'm going to keep saying that human beings defined everything that we use in our dictionary. We said that something is this, and that's why everyone thinks it's that. For so long, it was just common knowledge that human beings defined that the sun rotated around the earth. And that's just what we said. And we saw that, and we said that happened. And we think that just because humans say it means it happens. But there's no difference between a physical thing and a not physical thing in reality, because things don't exist in reality. We invented the term of a thing existing and defining in terms and everything in every language. Something we made up to solve problems for ourselves. So, how do you ask such a, like, influential question as what is life, what is you, without using any of these definitions? You can't, because life and what is you and me are definitions that we made up, so we have to keep the lie going, because it just makes things easier, and that's why we made them. But what is you? It's all these things going on in your head. It's a chain of it's constants and variables inside your head that are constantly changing, but staying the same in theory. And that is you, locked away in there and moving around and stuff like that. But it is chemicals, that's the only physical resemblance, but it could also take place in many other forms. It could take place in sound waves if you were telling someone your personality and all these things exactly. It could be data if you were put into an AI unit. It could be all sorts of things. It could be Morse code if you want to write out Morse code. It could be ink if you want to write out your mind map in ink. It would probably take a damn long time. It could take place on a graph, on a seismograph of reading energy waves from your brain. It can be so many things. So, what is it? If it's all these things, what can be all these things and none of these things and only one of these things all at the same time? And all at separate times? What is that? It's an idea. The idea of you, the idea of me, the idea of a person being a human being. It's ideas. Just thinking. It's ideas. The idea of you is held in your head when you're thinking about it. And then you can pass that idea through the air or type that idea into data. You are an idea. So whether you think someone's chopping your body off or chopping your head off, that idea of you is, well, here's another topic. Can you be immortal? Well, there are certain things by probability that I think I have a probability rant for later, but things say that eventually everyone's going to die, even if they could live forever. Something would happen. The sun would blow up or whatever. They're gonna die. But is there a way to be immortal in other senses? Well, let's look at the most basic one. Can you live forever? Well, actually, I'm going to take a more complex approach and just jump right into this. After you die, are you dead? If you, by my definition for this example, if you are an idea, how does an idea die? Are ideas immortal? Well, ideas are just as mortal as a human being, except they can exist without a body. Ideas can live forever, but it's up to us to keep those ideas alive. The idea of, while warped or whatever, history is written by the winners, the idea of so many historical people that we have memories of, and everyone knows all these people in their respective countries or whatever around the world. The idea of Hitler, of George Washington, of Benjamin Franklin, of Napoleon, of all these people, the idea of them still lives today. And ideas are malleable, and, like that idea, the thing I was saying about you talking, the idea of you to someone, it exists as chemical in your brain, then it exists in sound waves, then the idea exists in their ears, vibrating in there, and then their mind perceives it and rewrites it, that idea, but warped a bit to fit what they heard and fit their mind map. So you can keep an idea alive as long as people keep talking about it, or its data written down still exists. The ideas can be technically immortal, but when do you qualify an idea as being dead? thought about this, and here's what I came to. An idea and everything about that person is dead when the significance of that idea is no more than just a random 1 in a billion, not 1 in a billion, 1 in a million little poor kid that's only 5 years old or whatever, and he's in a poor family or whatever, like in the slums of India or something, and he never says a word in his life, and he just dies before anything, whatever, and just there's no impact whatsoever from that human being to the rest of the world. To a baby who was 1 in 3 or whatever, or just 1, who died immediately after being born or whatever, and the parents, whatever, the doctor, whatever, didn't care or anything like that, and it just goes unchecked, then there's absolutely no significance of that idea, of that life. An ant that you squish, a bug, a plant, ideas of anything, once they become so obsolete that, while yes, that idea of that person, the physicalness of that person did change the timeline or whatever, well, not change, but it existed and it moved particles, and it, butterfly effect, it did shift a wind or breathe air or whatever. In theory, the person becomes no more significant than all the people who are dead that we just don't recognize, than the first Neanderthals, than a random person in Greece that has no books written about them. If you could get a number or a variable of how many people are dead so far, and then compare that to, say you could get a number of all human beings that have been categorized or logged, or like that just their name exists somewhere in somebody's mind or in some book, it would be a gigantic difference. And once you fall into that gigantic difference, the people who just have no significance anymore and cannot ever be remembered, because once that's lost, how could you possibly get that person back? If there's no data to be found on this person, and no member of the family exists, that entire line has been cut off, and just nobody knows this person at all. No one even saw them. They live in a cave somewhere. How could you possibly get their information back? Say their body was disintegrated. There's no way of getting to that person, idea or physical. Then you're dead. So you can keep people alive for as long as you want, but eventually some things are going to be forgotten. Well, at least that's how it's been so far. A second part here, or a third or whatever. If an idea is just if a person is just an idea by some definition, then can a person be something that isn't a human? Because we have ideas of all these things. We have an idea of a bunch of other stuff that's alive. We have an idea of a dog or whatever, pets, anything like that. We have ideas of these things and stuff like that. Now, how did I have this go? I looped it back to the thing I was just talking about being dead. Oh yes, I think. How do you say whether something's alive or not? Not person, I was on the wrong topic. You say whether something's alive or not if all it needs to do to be alive is have an idea of it that can be passed down. Well, I think I'm gonna do this differently, actually. I don't really remember, but could a rock be alive? By scientific, physical definition, general definition? No, because it's not made of cells and all these, like, things, and no, it's not. can't think, it can't respond to stimuli. It doesn't have a personality. But people can give them personalities in their own head. They can create an idea of it. That Wilson, I think that was like a good example for this. I've never actually seen the movie, with the outcast or whatever it is, but you can go crazy or not crazy, whatever your definition of crazy is, and say whether or not a rock has a personality or anything like that. And the thing is, if you name that rock Charles, you name the rock Charles, and you have an idea of Charles in your head and personality that you can only see, and you're gonna pass on, like you're gonna write a book about Charles, and it's gonna go fucking viral, and everyone's gonna know about Charles. Is the rock alive? Define the rock. The rock is the metal and or silicon atoms of this thing. Just this clump. It's like a pile of goo. It doesn't generate anything to make the idea. It isn't alive. And in that case, we're just clumps of atoms or all that stuff too. So, yeah, we aren't alive either. But we are just the system of our physical beings generates the idea. The rock doesn't generate the idea. So Charles exists, but the rock is not alive. Charles is alive, not the rock. Because Charles is an idea that can be moved around in things, but it was invented by the guy who was either normal or went crazy, whatever your definition is. So, that rock, put it this way, if someone took that rock from the guy who named it Charles and chucked it into a lake, into a river, and now washed up somewhere and fell on some kid's head who was sitting under a waterfall, and that kid picks it up and looks at it, he's not gonna go, oh, that's Charles. He's gonna go, it's a fucking rock. It's a rock. He might be crazy too and give it another name or something, but odds are he won't name it Charles. Even if he does, it won't be the same personality. It won't be the same thing. See, with the exception of losing your memory or whatever, if you threw a person into the river and then that person fell on someone, the person who got the person falling on them would ask, who are you? And the person would be able to say, I'm Charlie, I'm a human being, this is my personality, you can see how I'm talking right now, and how I reacted, and I said, oh, I'm sorry I fell on you because someone threw me in the fucking river. Rock won't do that. A person will. The rock won't. The person is still alive to respond and give stimuli. That idea is being used as a map to generate responses to stimuli inside Charlie's head. Charles can't do that. Now it comes to debate whether certain animals or whatever can generate responses to stimuli that we just can't see or whatever like that. Can we say an ant is a person? Does it respond to stimuli in the ways that we tell? Well, here's the thing. Can we use data mapping and all these things to read a person's mind? To some degree, we can tell what general areas are lighting up and stuff like that. And we can do that with certain animals, but we just need a really, really tiny MRI for an ant. Ant's brain is so not complex. Like, I'm not calling an ant stupid. I'm saying it doesn't have all the cortexes we do, I'm pretty sure. There's just some animals, whether you like it or not, some just don't think. They can have responsive stimuli, and they can solve problems probably, but they can't, like, if you presented it with this and translated it so it could understand, it wouldn't think and respond. The gears wouldn't turn, because there's no gears to turn. we try to map things by using our brains as the definition, when our brains are made because they're our brains, and the only thing generally similar is an ape brain, chip brain, whatever the hell, primate. But it's just not fair to a dog to say it's not on our level because we define the level as us. If you could get, like, a different thing that was also as sentient as we are, and then the brains weren't exactly the same, and you found just a general, oh, to be this level, you need to, at some point, get this and this, because we look at the similarities. Hope I didn't screw up the recording here. The similarities and stuff, and yeah, I think I ran out of fumes. Well, that was the first rant. This is, my cousin, my cousin, told me that, we were talking, and I was going on one of these rants, and he was like, oh, dude, you have a fucking YouTube channel, just be Vsauce, but I don't want to be Vsauce, because Vsauce, yeah, that's his own thing. He tackles things that, like, I look at his videos, and half them I just go, who doesn't know that, or whatever, and then he goes into more depth with it. He just has a general attention-grabbing topic, because he understands business of YouTube. You gotta catch attention of general people, but honestly, if you hear this, and you think, and you want to respond, then cool. I'm not going to edit this so that I get views. I'm not going to edit this so that people can understand it better. I'm ranting. If you can understand, awesome, you're thinking. If you can understand, well, define understanding. You might not really understand, just think you understand. But who am I to say whether your understanding is right or mine is wrong? Yeah, I'm running out of fumes. I gotta end this. Look for more in the future, I guess. I have a whole book of rants like this.